Ben, man.
What do you think of the score?
I think it was a beautiful goal by Austin Martin. Olympic.
NYCFC fan TV for the fans and by the fans. Damn it.
Damn it. I hear echo. Echo. I hear.
Echo.
No, not so much no anymore.
I'm JT. That's Echo Lee.
Echo Lee.
Y'all know Jorge Top Ben 90 Gonzalez. And tonight, our special guest, David the Gus Gusler, coming live from where? Columbia? Somewhere in South Carolina?
Yeah, you just say South Carolina. That's all people know about. That's all we know.
That somewhere down south. Southern. So thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, did we introduce Top Ben? He's down in Miami. Tell us how Miami's going,
well,
man.
We did introduce him.
Great,
we didn't say where he was.
I just had some news that I wanted to share on the show.
Oh, I got some breaking transfer news, man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, now you don't even know about this, Jorge. But you might know about it.
Mine too?
Huh?
Do you want me to hold off on mine?
Hey,
Go ahead. We might have the same news.
Boys, time out. Hey, y'all out there, I just want to tell you, when we got on right before we did the 5-minute countdown, we all agreed this is going to be a really fun show.
Oh, it's going to be a blast.
So as I'm saying that, I'm going to sit back. I got my 23 questions plus
Cheers
the
to
bonus.
everybody. Cheers to everybody out there.
Hey, happy summertime.
That's
anyway,
it, man. July 4th coming. America.
Go.
Right, we might have the America. That's right. We might have the same news, man. I'll let you go first.
All right. There's a coaching change.
Yeah, in Miami.
Martino now will coach Inter Miami. What?
Why aren't you wearing your Messi kit, man? Is he on drugs? I don't know. Are you on drugs? Is the audio bad? Somebody said the audio is bad. I don't know. Anyways, fuck it. We'll just roll with it, man. You know.
So did you see Tata in his press conference on there, Jorge? Like, was he? I saw his wonderful photo shoot down there, just kind of like awkwardly standing in Fort Lauderdale. You know. So.
You know what? I was trying to stay longer, but those bushes, the leaves were really messing with my skin, so I had to leave. So I didn't get to.
They had the prickly bushes down there, right? The ones that fucking always, and then they have these red little berries that grow on them at fucking wintertime, dude. What do they call holly bushes?
Holly bushes.
Have a holly jolly Christmas in July. It's the best time of the year.
Yeah. No, so anyways, well, Jorge stole my breaking news, but I did have something a little more juicier for you Spurs fans out there, since this show hates Arsenal.
What?
Just because Matt Swift said.
Lee, we're talking about Charlotte FC.
I know,
man.
but I had to take a dig at Matt Swift real quick with him and his damn shirt, since we had Dave Gussler on here as partner. Right. Yeah. Madison to Spurs, $40 million. Best move we ever made, man. At least this transfer window.
Who?
Madison.
I know.
Yeah, that's more drink. Anyway, so let's talk about Charlotte FC.
I hope other people are laughing out there, because Jorge was laughing at himself like he was funny, which it wasn't so funny. you and the Gus are laughing at each other like y'all funny. Y'all ain't so funny. So I hope everyone else out there is laughing.
We're having a good time. It feels like, seriously, JT, it feels like we haven't done a live show in forever, man. All these games keep falling on Wednesdays.
True.
Yeah, the Royal Dump can't even get the audio right, man. Terrible, fellas. Terrible. Yeah.
Terrible.
Anyways.
It's that South Carolina internet, man. That's what the audio was.
Yeah, that's true.
I think my internet's going.
Anyways, let's talk about the Red Bulls game. Y'all want to?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, what game do we really want to talk about? I mean, honestly, right? I mean, it's let's talk Red Bulls. 2-0 up. What happened at halftime?
Rough.
Do you think Latanzio came out and said, you know what, fellas? We need to just not lose?
I don't know. I felt like the first half, like we had some good moments there, especially with Bender. I have some amazing goals there, but I didn't really feel like we walked away and blew away Red Bulls in that first half. And I think Red Bulls just caught up to us because we weren't really creating much in that first half, right? But it also doesn't help. We sit back and wait for them to attack us and press us the whole second half. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree with that to a point, right? I think they were really pressing us. We just sort of had a couple of lucky breaks. Bender was on fire. Apparently, he just got married, so he was feeling good about life. Put 2 in. And then, I don't know, the second half, I mean, I would say the last 10 minutes, Jorge, of the first half, man, we were just as bad as we were in the second half.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think my biggest point of blame is what was said in that halftime talk, that they came out so atrocious.
But that's what I was asking Gussler. Like, did Latanzio go in there and be like, look, we're 2-0 up, we're at halftime, we got 45 minutes, let's close this out, so that we just sort of sat back and, and then we turned into Charlotte?
From what I heard, it wasn't so much what Latanzio was or was not saying. It was what the coach for the Red Bulls was saying. The coach for the Red Bulls.
We ain't giving the Red Bulls no credit, man.
They lit a fire under their ass, and we were complacent, to your point. I'm sure Latanzio's like, all right, let's keep it up, boys. Doing well, boys. Let's keep doing the same thing. And in other words, we're not going to play it safe. We're just going to keep on doing what we're doing. And the other coach is like, you lazy sons of bitch, get the up and let's get going. And they did.
They were lucky not to score. Red Bulls were lucky not to score.
Yeah.
Unlucky not
Yeah.
to score in the first half, in my opinion.
I mean, the thing is that we do this all the time. Like, I mean, like, I feel like we don't learn, right? I mean, it's the same thing,
Shit.
right? You have leads, you don't know. Like, as soon as this team hits a little bit of adversity, everything goes out the window. I'm like, what happened to recruiting players with mentalities? Last year, Zoran was talking to us about, hey, there's trophy winners in every line in this team. I'm like, well, where's that leadership and experience coming from?
Well, I mean, I will say I feel like, I mean, we haven't won in like 8 games, I think it is, something around close to there. Somebody can correct me in the chat about that. But we've had plenty of draws, right? I mean, I felt like we sort of, once Westwood came back, I felt like we sort of kind of got some stride in us, but then all of a sudden we've just gone complacent. I mean, not to jump ahead into, the Montreal game so quick, but it's either a defense is not doing that thing or the offense isn't doing that thing.
Yep.
I think the midfield, we seem to be okay. I mean, definitely we can upgrade in some spots, right? And I'm not going to drop any names or anything, but, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see our field sort of starting a lot more, once he kind of gets up to match fit. And, I don't know, man. This team is just Charlotte, man. And I don't know what to think. Somebody had
I mean, I know what you mean. It's like if it's one thing and not the other, not to jump ahead like you said, but with Red Bull, at least put some shots on target in the first half, created some chances a little bit, and then against Montreal, it's like we finally have a clean sheet. We finally get some defense. Finally stop letting in some goals with the MLS leading, goals against, and then we don't create anything, right? So if it's not one thing, it's at the other. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to our field coming in. I think it's going to be a fresh, breath of fresh air for us in the midfield there a little bit. I think we do see, I mean, my personal opinion, I think we still see Westwood at the 6 there with him coming in.
Yeah.
I don't expect him to play a full 90 minutes right away. I think you still see him and then potentially a Bender subbing in for him.
This man moved from Scotland. They still got to get used to the heat.
Yeah. 98 degrees this weekend. So he's probably not used to that.
On turf too.
Oh yeah. Melts his boots, man.
That's it. There she is. What's up, Xylee? So anyways, Jorge, man, you're like awfully quiet, man. You seem preoccupied. Is it cool, man? You're trying to get the guys, the moving company, to get your furniture off so you can actually sleep in a bed tonight in Miami.
Welcome to Miami.
I wish it was that. No, I mean, I agree. I think us adding a player of a veteran experience like Scott is good, right? But at the same time, like, how much change is he really going to bring, right? Like, collectively, we've got to get better. Our back line is terrible. Most goals in MLS, right, this season. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that this team needs to work on. And this is why, I mean, what I've noticed recently is a lot of Lattanzio's pressers are more about putting pressure on the front office and putting pressure on his players, because I feel like he's done.
So what's going to happen? What's going to happen when the transfer window closes, right? And he's got those two or three players that he keeps harping on about, and we sort of continue down this path.
And to the point with Lattanzio, is he not the type of coach at halftime to be able to get in front of his players and really chew their
I don't know.
chew their ass
seems super
bit?
chill, man.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
it's on CBD or something.
Yeah, but if he can't chew their ass when he needs to, and like Lee,
I don't think he's that type of manager. I feel like he'll be that one, when you look at him and he makes that eye contact with you, automatically feel disappointed.
Man, you gotta get out there and chew some ass sometime.
I don't think it's much of that. I think it's more of like tactically, some of the changes that he makes are very questionable. In my opinion, his man management is probably better than his tactical management so far. We've seen it, right? Some of the stuff that he made don't make sense. They're either too late, now they're looking like too early. Why was Bender pulled off so early against New York, right? Or not against New York, Montreal, sorry.
Yeah, that's next week. So tell us the score for next week. I'm going to go put $1,000 on it, dude.
Well, I'm saying New York Red Bulls.
Oh, damn it. Yeah. All right, fair. Yes.
What do you think? I mean, that one thing that's at least been really inconsistent has been our back line. And, for better or worse, injuries, etc., yellow card accumulation, those past 2 games, you saw a different back line in each game. You had, Bill Tuiluma there at right back. You had Caruso, who's starting to get minutes, but isn't 90 minutes fit yet. You've got Derek Jones at center back, Jan, etc. And then you have, Jalen, Awful, whoever's rotating it on left back. So what do you think from a tactics perspective, Jorge, that is going to continue, or do you think he kind of solidifies that over the next few weeks?
I think it continues. In my opinion, there's a style that Lattanzio wants to play, right? And he's not – it doesn't matter what type of players he has. He's going to continue to play that style. Like, that's pretty bold on his part, and we've seen the leaks in this back line. So in my opinion, it's more of like, who am I going to plug in right now to play the way I want to play until I actually get players. And to me, that's a sign. That's something that he can go, that he's probably using to go to the front offices and saying, hey, this is how we want to play. This is the personnel I have, and it's not contingent to the way I want to play. Bring the right players for this system, because that's been a big issue. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Sometimes how high our fullbacks go. We've got our center backs in a lot of times in 1v1 situations. I mean, there needs to be more athleticism from our fullbacks, especially on the left side. I mean, it's going to continue to be like this until he, in my opinion, gets the players he's looking for.
So, all right, and you guys out there, put this in the chat for me. I'm kind of curious. If you were to say there was one problem with Charlotte, right, what would it be?
You mean Charlotte FC, right?
Oh yeah, actually, I said Charlotte FC, yes.
Okay,
But you know what I mean, like, go ahead, Gus. I'll let you.
So it's funny you asked that, and I remember doing like one of our earlier shows in the year. Remember when we started Brant Bronico at left back, like for 2 games there, and Lattanzio said, "Well, hey, we're doing this again because we want consistency. We want a consistent starting 11." And we want the same players to get molded and comfortable with each other and being able to play every single week, right? And he says he wants consistency. And I think that's the one thing we don't have this year at all is consistency in our starting 11. It seems like it's almost a different back line, midfield, attacking players. Injuries or not, it's super inconsistent. And I think that, going back to Jorge's point, I think it is us trying to put a Band-Aid on some of these players and the scheme that he wants to run or tactics he wants to run. And he's just trying to figure out and throw crap at the wall to see what sticks and see if it works or not.
To that point, because I wanted to ask this earlier, but when do we think we will have enough of a complete team? Because we're all learning the MLS, at least especially me, in trade windows and whatever. And it's such an international sport when you can get people and loans and whatever. Very complicated. When do you think we will have a team? They're like, all right, we have everyone that can play the way I want to play, whatever formation, and let me try that for at least 5 games straight.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, to me,
but is that
I keep harping on this. I'm tired of saying it, to be honest with you. First preseason, we had a formation set up. We were looking halfway decent. We had things going on. A tragic incident happened, and then we came out against New England. And we played a completely different style than what we've been playing in preseason. And that's been the way it's been all season. But I don't know if that's our issue, man. I feel like we have 5 or 6 like mini issues that just need to be figured out, right? And, maybe a star player coming in and just hyping us up a little bit, man. Everything seems stagnant.
Put in Coors Light. I'll start for you, coach.
I like some of the comments. Parking's our issue. I think Sam said that one.
The shootings.
You know what I mean? It just feels everything just feels stagnant, right? It feels like we finally kind of washed away Miggy's stuff, right? And then we had the shit that happened that was unfortunate at the beginning of the season, and then then we had the Andre drama and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, like at what point do we actually get to focus on football and what's going on within it?
Well, the thing is, we can't really focus on football because the product on the field is crap, right? And people are still going to harp on People
Yeah.
are still going to harp on PSLs. That conversation will never go
Is that
away.
a curse for us? Sorry to interrupt, man. I think PSL is a
It's
fucking curse for us,
100% a
man.
curse, right?
Man.
That
Tepper, man.
plus-
Uncurse us.
Ooh, don't y'all start talking about curses. No.
Right, and too, like you look at this last 2
Come
weekends.
here, Glenda.
There was a potential for
This ain't
points.
that. This ain't that. Y'all don't start talking about curses. I'm gonna slow that shit down real quick. Okay.
Come on, man. Fuck
Y'all
PSL.
keep that voodoo for what you do, not on here, not live.
Hold on. You do what I do because you're a voodoo?
Don't you play with me, Lee.
Oh, man, that was off the top of the head, man. Anyways, go ahead, Jorge. You were saying, buddy.
I was saying, and we continue to see stuff that's really frustrating as fans, right? This weekend, we could have easily pulled out 6 points. It would have been acceptable to get 4. We ended up with 2.
Yep.
Right?
That's what I keep saying, man. Like your tweet game day, like put in a score prediction, and then I'll honestly I'll put in a score prediction, but then it's like I have to follow up with, but we're Charlotte.
It's
Right?
like, hey,
anything can happen, man. Anything
Yeah.
can happen. We can
It's
come
like we're
out
stuck in
and
limbo.
5-6-0
It's like, hey,
or lose 3-0.
we're not in hell. It's like we're stuck in limbo. We're like in this little like foggy, weird area between life and death and whatever. It's just like 0-0, 2-2, 1 point, 1 point on the river Styx, man.
It's just I don't know. There's just not one thing I don't think, man, that's wrong. Like I don't think 3 players is it's gonna fix us.
Yeah, but you know what? It has to, right? I mean, there's people pay too much money. They have over 30,000 fans
I
here
don't
at
matter,
every
man.
match,
I
right?
mean, the PSL is
If
like
they do not-
3
if-
years.
First of all, the time frame of them losing points is running, and it's running out of time quickly,
Yep.
right? If they do not make the playoffs this season, it is a massive failure on the front office,
if we don't, yes,
players, and
Preach
on the coaching staff.
preach it.
So they really have to get things right? So this window becomes very critical. One of 2 things happens. You either add players that can be a boost, kind of like Merrim was when he came in, or figure out a way to stop leaking so many goals and get into a playoff position. Because if they do not get into a playoff position this season, it is a total failure. It is a catastrophe.
Who's next on the line? If we finish 10th, who's next on the line? The Tanzios or is it Zorans?
I think that's a tough question to answer. I feel like the sporting directors typically get more of a lifeline than the coaches. So
100%, right?
So
I mean,
what will happen is
They go to dinner more
if,
often.
yeah,
with the
if they
owner.
have to put a blame on somebody and someone has to get put out, it's definitely going to be the coach first.
You know, it's interesting, Jorge, because you're even saying like the first year the front office said, "Hey, the goal is and expectation is we're going to host a playoff game, right?" And then you go into this season, Zoran even said the goal is to make the playoffs this year. And MLS had an extra spot for us to make the playoffs this year. Like 9 out of 14 teams can make the playoffs, so literally 2/3 of the East can make it, and we're sitting in 10th right now, where we're looking on
That's
the
what I
outside
was
looking
gonna
in.
say.
Well,
That's
I'm
what
just
I was
curious.
gonna
I
say.
mean,
They even gave us an extra.
I don't want to hear
spot.
that because look at St. Louis, man. They came out the gate and they're flying, man. So
Yeah.
I mean, is it Tepper's fault though? Because he came out and set the expectation high, right? I mean, we're gonna party, we're gonna have all the games, we're gonna do all the things. It's gonna be all the best, right? And here we are, like, come on, man. You know what's gonna happen? Messi's gonna come in, Miami's gonna go on a running streak, and we're gonna finish 10th. Miami's gonna finish 9th, man. Watch that shit happen. I caught it here first. Go ahead and put $50 on it.
Who's Messi? I'm sorry. Who is that? Is it supposed to be a big deal for
He
MLS?
played for
Sorry.
Man United. He's Portuguese.
Ew.
Is
Wow, yeah, I
it
think
Manny
to make
promoting
sure-
some player like named like MC? He's just missing the E in all their
I totally
promoting.
disagree with this comment.
Seriously, who is Messi? Who is Messi?
I let Jorge say. Every time you bring his name, his eyes water. But you know what I mean? I mean, all right. So, I mean,
Answering your question, Lee, about who to put the blame,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think you take it in parts, right? I think one, you put blame on the front office, right, for setting certain expectations and definitely not meeting it. Two, you put blame also on the scouting, right? Some of the players that we have just aren't good enough for the style we want to play. Adding back to that front office, right? I mean, you've got 2 players in Nuno and Andre right now that take over $1 million in cap skate. in cap space. You have Vinny Mello, one of our U22 players, right, who's supposed to be an impactful U22 at Crown Legacy, right? You have all these other issues, right? I mean, we're looking at Taloma hasn't been great. You know, Nathan has had a tough season, right? You know, Kalina has been hit or miss in certain games as well, right? So you put that blame on both the front office and the technical staff bringing in players, and on top of that, you add that Latanja wants to continue to play a certain way, knowing that we don't have the personnel for it. So the blame falls on all these pieces, right? And rightfully so, the fan base shouldn't be happy to be 10th, right? It shouldn't be okay.
No,
We should be
no,
finishing
I'm not
top
happy with that. We should at least top 8. Like
No,
I feel like if we're not in the top 8, I don't even want 9th or 10th. I want 8th.
If you make playoffs, it's acceptable. Reality is based on what they're
So
trying
let me
to
ask you a
push.
question. Is 9th and 10th really considered making playoffs, or is this considered like here's one more lifeline, let's make a couple of bucks?
Well, I think if they finish 9th and make playoffs, it buys them the season, right? Like, you know, they'll say, hey, we accomplished our goal of making the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I still think in order for us to, me personally, we either need to finish 8th or we need to be the team that wins out of the 9th and 10th game or whatever. Sorry.
I
ahead,
agree
Wes.
with you, Jorge. With if they make the playoffs, I think it gives a lifeline for some of the coaching staff and, you know, the people in charge. Because I don't think you could predict an offseason like we had, like with the tragedy with Anton and et cetera, right? You can't predict Andre doing whatever that is situation. Like you said, Andre and Nuno, they were signed to be impactful players, at least, you know, players coming off the bench or
We just gave
quasi-starters.
Andre a new contract, right?
Yeah. And so if you're expecting, so from the scouting perspective, you've identified these players potentially make an impact, and now we're wasting it away. Hopefully we can offload them in the transfer window that's coming up, you know, next week.
Yeah.
But
even if the situation hadn't gone down the way it's gone down, you still, right? You have Andre on 500,000. He's not a guaranteed starter. You have Nuno on over 500,000 as well, and that's not a guaranteed starter for any for us as well, right? So I mean, Messi's going to come into the league with a DP contract of technically 612, right? On that roster space. So I think you have to talk about these things and you have to criticize how the club is structuring this team. We only have 20 senior roster slots, and they have to be effective and impactful, and they're not that.
I just wanted to time out because I remember like last year in the past, we used to kid around, Jorge, about Messi or Ronaldo coming to the league. And when you just said it right there, like just, you know, like as like it's things are going to happen. And and Messi's going to be coming in. And you just roll past it. I'm like, holy shit, are you kidding me?
Dude, if you're looking at that team right now, Messi's
crazy.
playing, man.
That is crazy.
That team's gonna
man.
it's gonna be embarrassing, man, to be a Charlotte fan and to see the Charlotte players get just burned by Messi.
Embarrassed.
I'm super interested with that.
Time.
I'm interested to see what that game day environment's going to be like for that game, because you've seen all the tickets on sale on Ticketmaster, et cetera, right? But you feel like half that stadium is going to be there just to see Messi, right?
Oh, 100%. They have to be.
And then now you're going to have all these fans come in the supporter section, et cetera, that aren't used to being there. That's bought tickets to go see Messi.
Like last week.
Yeah, you said it, not me. So, but you know, I worry what that in game day environment's gonna be like. I feel like it's gonna be a home game for Miami at that point. You know, Jorge's gonna be on the sideline with his Messi kit at that point. So.
Give me that low.
He'll still have his cot and everything.
You know what though? I kind of agree with you, Gilmore. I do kind of almost think Jones is our best. He's our most consistent player. That's for sure.
But is he the best 6 in MLS or one of the top 6s in MLS?
I don't know. I wouldn't say that, but I mean that's another problem we have though. Our better players.
Comment is really good. He's right. The fact that none of our players were even close to making the MLS All-Star speaks volume, right? I mean, 20 senior.
I'm gonna counter that though. Nobody gave Leicester the chance to win the Premier League. And by the way, breaking news: Spurs just signed James Madison from Leicester City for $40 million plus add-ons. But right. You know, screw Arsenal. But
what
you know, I mean,
talking about
just the Farmers League. That's all.
You need a star, though. You just need a group of guys that can play together as a team, man. And I don't.
We don't have both. Miami will be crap, but at least they'll get to see Messi play.
Well, I mean,
He has to be captain.
we've
Who
already
do we need to
debated
see?
this though. We've already said Tepper's not going to spend more than $8 million max for a DP, man.
You know, but that's the thing that's frustrating though, is because if you looked at that Athletic article that came out earlier in the year, I think this year we're a little bit better than last year in terms of roster spend, but like, why aren't we towards the higher end when you guys were just talking about it earlier? PSL spend, game day experience spend.
Yeah, we've got one of the top. We're one of the top attendance FC. We're one of the top attendance in the league, and you know, I mean, it does. It costs. Look, I get 2 drinks and a popcorn and some hot dogs for the
It's like
kids. I
$50.
spend $50 fucking dollars, man, and then I get a beer for myself. Dude, I'm dropping $100 on 2 beers and 4 hot
Yeah.
dogs.
But you know what? I think this is how Charlotte looks at it, right? You know, the fact that there's a lot of parity in this league means that you don't necessarily have to spend big for your team to produce. But the problem is that when you don't spend right, you get this type of product, right?
Yeah.
So if you're looking to build a competitive team, you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money. But the money that you do spend on players that are risk and they don't come in with that return, then you get that criticism. Then you get a team that's sitting in 10th.
Damn right.
I mean, but again, I mean, Tepper's not going to spend, man. He's not going to spend, right? This is what I think.
We don't know.
So now, does this push onto the scouting? Does this push onto the scouting department too?
But they're only going to scout what they can spend.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, are they picking the right prospects, or is it just kind of like let's throw a dart at the carnival and hope it
You know,
pops
that
up all
with
the way
the,
with
with
a
the
bear?
billions of dollars DT has, he might have gotten like an extra 8 million whatever dollars yesterday just in interest. So he might be like, you know what? Fuck it. Do it. I don't give a shit. He just dropped all this shit to do a lot of stuff with the Panthers.
Are we angry at Charlotte FC? Or are we just disappointed? Or are we?
Yeah,
I'm
we're not
trying to
angry, we're
understand, 'cause
just
this
disappointed.
conversation
I'm not
sort of
angry.
went
I
away
think-
from the
I
Red Bull game.
I
It
think-
completely
I
did,
think
and I'm realizing that now at this
DT's
moment.
attention has gone to the Panthers
It is.
for a little bit.
because as
He's
a
gonna
fan
come
base,
back
we
to us.
should have a better product.
We're the
There
youngest
should be a
kid.
better product here, right? If
We're
we
the
were-
fun younger brother. We're the fun younger brother, man.
But not the
We're-
fun
we're
younger brother. We're
smaller.
the cool younger brother, man.
Well, whatever. Cool, fun, whatever. Crazier. That's definitely for sure. But at the same time, let the big brother been around for a long time. He's doing that shit. Then he's gonna come back to us. Man, he's like, come on, man. You can go and ride your bike over 7-Eleven. Do what you want.
So this is that came in the chat. That so Westwood Tea Gang, aka Matt Chantry, aka
Yeah.
Coffee's better than tea. But
Fuck that.
he put in
Okay.
there about Philly having this slow build, and I do have to say, I mean, I know y'all talking about the scouting team. I think we are seeing at least a good build or good potential with Crown Legacy, right? And it is going to be a benefit for us long term. But right now, it doesn't feel good because it's like we're year 2 and we're top 5 in ticket prices, experience, whatever it is, and we're
Exactly.
sitting in 10th right now.
So
So
to
it
me,
doesn't feel
that
great.
the slow build doesn't matter because you can't be charging Rolls Royce prices for a Honda Civic, right? And say, hey, give us some time, and this Honda will eventually turn into a Rolls Royce. Then you need to charge Honda Civic prices, right?
No.
You want to have over 30,000 people at the stadium. Give them a good product on the field.
Yes. But it wouldn't be a Rolls Royce, man. It'd be like a nice Acura.
It'd be like one of those M7s, man. It'd be like a Beamer.
No.
or something, man,
He's
you
talking about
know?
Honda Civic.
But you know what, though? I don't care.
He's
Like,
talking about a Honda Civic with 200,000 miles from 2008. Compared
serious
to
question, though.
a
Serious
new
question.
Acura.
Serious question. Say Messi was coming to Charlotte. Would that be all that we needed?
No, but it would definitely
No.
plug a hole, right?
Yeah. What is that?
Right? You can say, hey, yeah, we're bringing Messi here. We're charging you these prices. We're doing what we're doing because Messi is here. And to a degree, you can accept that because of the high caliber of a player that you have here. But when you don't have that and you continue to have these things, right, that this pressure was put on by them, not by us, right? Charlotte was the one that mentioned that they wanted to make playoffs. Charlotte's the one that
From day one.
prices in the league. This is all pressure that they're putting on themselves.
I agree. But I mean, at the end of the day, go ahead, David. Go ahead, man.
No, you're good. I mean, I agree because like they've done it to themselves. I mean, it's just exactly what I said. Like the first season, like Mike even put it in the chat. Like they sold to supporters, a party atmosphere.
Yeah, but
you know,
I think a
but-
lot of sorry, and I'm gonna let you finish your
You're
thought,
good.
man.
Yep.
But I think Nick Kelly took a lot of brunt and a lot of
He did.
blame for a lot of shit that was not his fault.
Yeah, it's all ticketing and marketing, man. That's all it is. So it's, but I mean, yeah, I mean they sold the expectation, and then the fans are starting to hold them to it. And I think we're still getting 30,000 a seat a game
Yeah,
so far.
31.
I
mean,
do
that's what
think
they
you're
say.
seeing that taper a little bit versus last year. And then if we don't make the playoffs again this year, I think you do start to see that taper off drastically next year, especially if they increase prices again by 7% across the board.
Yeah, I
Really?
mean,
You think-
honestly, like side chats.
Yeah, Lee.
Hold on, I had a valid
No,
point.
I
I'm gonna
know, but you
forget.
always got lots of points. Hold on, T.O.
Number 12, JT.
Damn it. Hold on. But before I go to number 12, Gusler, you really think that if they don't make the playoffs next year, there'll be less people there? While the whole branding of it, the marketing of it has been, it's a party, it's a party, it's a party. It's a good time. But most people I see and interview and talk to, they're going out there. They love seeing something in the big stadium and everything. For the most part, they don't give a shit if they win that much, as long as it was a good atmosphere, and it was.
Yeah,
All
but
right,
you know what? No. Before you say number 12, because you actually touched on what I wanted to respond back to Gusler. Talking side conversations with for lack of a better term, the ultras or whatever, right? The ones that are there no matter what, where they're going to travel. I mean, they're all start saying the same thing, man. They're like, this is getting hard to watch. This is getting boring. This is, why am I spending my money on this if like they're not even trying to compete? It's like at what point, right? I mean, yeah, I think season 3, the PSLs are only like a 3-year contract, right? So people can stop renewing their season tickets and not have to pay whatever Tepper wants. It could get very empty and very lonely in that stadium very quick.
Interesting. I didn't think about the 3-year contract.
They were hoping to get a new stadium by that point, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are, right? But we're going to spread out grass for this weekend's game. Oh, hey, say what you got to say, man. We're just bitching about the club tonight. Fuck it.
Okay, 12, right? Number 12. No.
Are Premier League players making themselves think that they will come here later on?
What?
What?
As in, like,
Was that English?
Are Premier League players? Oh, that's it. Are Premier League players making the shots that we don't make with whatever sliding on the turf?
Oh, you're talking about, for instance, that was a good segue to CF Montreal, man. So you're
Right.
saying like all the bullshit that we missed
No,
this
just the-
weekend would Premier players make those?
Yeah, we're talking about like finishing the last third, but we're talking about the last, like, not the last third, the last 16th, right when Carroll just puts it right to the keeper, or Capetti does
I
whatever.
just don't think those boys have had enough time to play with each other up top.
But it seems like the ball's in the perfect position, and they're paid a lot of money. But in the Premier League, are you just that much better that you would make that?
No, but if somebody like
They
Kevin
don't-
De Bruyne was making a pass, it's going to be on your foot, and you don't have to do anything anyways.
I mean, you don't have to be a premier player to have a ball right in front of you like Enzo did.
Yeah.
week.
Well, Enzo should have shot on
I'm
that
talking
first
about
one
the
that he
people
tried to pass it through.
scoring them, not to have the ball there, but to do something with it once it's
Yeah, but then you got to. I mean, there's so many variables in that. The keeper's better in Europe. Would he have saved it anyways? Like, there's so many variables,
No,
right?
not in Europe. I'm just saying it seems like if we are the 5th, 6th, 7th best league in the world, what are we now? What would you say, Jorge? The MLS is what in the
Top
world?
5.
No, it's probably like 8. But I think to go into your point, we're paying the price of buying low end DPs, right? And what do I mean by low end DPs, right?
Reach it.
You know what? Karol Swiderski this season has 3 goals, 5 assists. Enzo has 4 goals, I think 1 or 2 assists, right? So we're not paying for premium DPs. We're paying for the lower end of the spectrum of the DPs.
I mean, Jaws was sort of.
This is what we're
looking
gonna
at
get.
those.
We're either gonna get a okay player, or when you're looking for a DP and you don't spend that much, you're banking on getting somebody like a Honey Mukhtar to come in. And the reality is we haven't gotten that with our DPs, right? This is where I go back to, like, they're gambling with the certain types of players that they're getting, expecting more and they're not receiving that more. They're receiving typically what they think what would be expected, right? I mean, this goes into the DP selection. It goes into the U22 player selection as well, right? These are players that are supposed to be making a big difference. And we saw it this weekend. Some of the chances that they miss are chances that DP shouldn't be missing.
So that goes back to my original question. What is the one thing that fucking Charlotte's missing? I can't put my finger on it, man. I cannot put my finger on it. And I lay in bed. Like, I go to bed very tired after I do these shows at 10 o'clock. And then I'm laying there and I'm like, what is the one thing Charlotte's missing? And there isn't one thing. Like, we could all scream Latanzio out. We could say, Zoran, get the hell out. We need 3 more players. I still don't think that's going to fix the issue, man. I think we got this cloud over us, and it all started with the PSLs, dude. We're going to be a mediocre, like we're going to be a middle of the line team for the longest time ever, dude. And we're going to keep showing up just because that's what we do. But it's going to look like Chicago some game days, man. And everybody's going to be in the supporters section.
God, that'll be really rough if it gets like Chicago, man.
You know what I mean? I mean,
well, you know what? I hope it does. I really do. I really do.
You don't. I don't.
I do. If it will show Charlotte FC that they need to produce a better product, good.
Fix it now. Don't wait until the fans are gone, man, because then you got to fight twice hard to get them back. The fans are there. We keep showing up.
Hey, y'all cool off. It's summer.
Oh, man, no. I'm on a tangent tonight, man. We're gonna let it out, man. I've been holding on to this. I was going to tweet half this shit just because I don't want to.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, but no, seriously. There's one thing I can't put my finger on it. If we're gonna let us fail, right, Jorge, basically, and let this shit happen, right? So maybe they pay attention. No, we got the people in the seats now. Let's put the product on the pitch, man.
Here's the problem.
Give me Tepper's checkbook.
Here's the problem. We're not going to sign anyone this summer window that you're going to think that you're going to say, wow, this player is going to be a turning point for Charlotte, right? There's potential to sign a good player, sure, right? But there's still no guarantees that they're going to bring in quality players to upgrade this team, right? And so this is where I get at that, okay, now the pressure really comes, right? You're getting into the last portion of the season, playing catch up, right? Giving away stupid points. Instead of getting 6 points or 4 points, you're going home with 2 points, right? A game that you could have easily won in Montreal, you didn't pull through. A game that you had against New York, right? Red Bulls, you didn't pull through. Right, so all of this starts accumulating, and will it be like last season again, where these guys find form, but it's not? It's right at the end.
Too late. Yeah.
Too late. So
go ahead, Gussler.
No, I mean, I was just saying,
like, man. It's like a therapy session, man.
I need to go lay down on the couch real quick and just let it out, man.
Yeah.
But I think the things, and what you're saying, Ray, we can get in form here, but we got to do it like ASAP, because if you're looking at points now, we're at 24 points. For us to even have a chance of playoffs, if you're looking at last year's table, I think it was like 46, 48 points. And we finished at 42 last year. And it's like we're running out of time. I think the biggest difference this year, I think we're tied for 5th lowest points at home. And we keep dropping these draws and these potential wins to get 3 points. That's the worrisome part of it. I mean, I hope we go to New York this weekend and get 3 points in Yankee Stadium, because what a terrible soccer state that is, but we got to do something different here. We got to get 3 points, as soon as possible.
But I mean, the good thing is, right, if you want to, like, we keep sweeping New York, right? And teams have those teams that they just beat, right? I mean, shit. Again, not to get on the Spurs, like, we keep beating Man City. Nobody else can beat Man City, but we beat them. But we can't beat the Fulhams or the Arsenals. So,
who are you?
I guess what I'm trying to say is Charlotte plays New York, right? Last season, we were supposed to get spanked, our asses handed to us by New York, and we've swept them. We played them 3 times, and we beat them 3 times, right? So
the Red Bulls, though.
What? No, I'm talking about New York City FC.
Oh, right.
Yes. So
there's 2 teams there,
Yeah. But I'm saying we just keep sweeping, and I think next weekend's results going to give everybody a false hope, and it's not going to be. We're going to win 2-1, by the way, And I just don't think that's what we need. Again, man, I'm just so frustrated as team because like what they sold me in before I signed off on all the shit I signed off on is definitely not what I'm getting, man. Like the Amazon review would be terrible, and I'd even take it to Yelp. That's how fucking far I'm going.
Yeah, Lee. I'm hitting that for you, Lee.
Hey, thanks, man.
How
I'm
about
breaking
our
up, or is
10,
everybody else
JT?
breaking up?
How about number 10?
Number 10. Number 10.
Oh, number 10. Number 10.
I
This is a
feel
good, fun
like-
conversation, fellas. Thanks for
I
joining us.
feel like Westwood, aka Westy, is holding it all down as well as possible. But I do wonder what he's like. He's like, all right, I've come over here, whatever. But I feel like he's the only adult on the pitch or whatever. I still like seeing what Westy's doing. What y'all think?
You know what? First off, I want to say any new people here on the show, hit that sub button for us, man. We're here every Wednesday night at 9:00. But I don't know. I didn't even hear the question, so I don't even know how to even begin answering that.
Westwood, Westy.
Oh yeah. I was reading all the comments, man. So
Yeah, I know.
let's Gusler, man. You started off, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does like it here. I mean, that's why he recruited Arfield Hill, right? Because I think that came out in the article and was published that, you know, hey, I brought my buddy here. I vouched for it. It's a lot more competitive than people think. I think he's enjoying it. I don't think he'll be playing in Premier League anymore. So I think this is a good place for him to be able to get 90 minutes each week. So, and plus he's got fans like Westwood T Gang that likes to promote T for him.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I think Westwood's a decent player. He's a decent pickup. I think he fits in well with what we want to do. But again, like how many times we're going to flush the toilet before we get in the, some instead of one ply toilet
He's a
paper,
good
two
leader. I'm
ply.
saying there's the intangibles, man.
No. Westwood, man. Westy, I'm fine with Westy, man. There's about 5 or 6 players, man, that I want to say, like, y'all are in it. Y'all got what I want to see. But
I like Westwood.
Yeah.
Plus, we had a nice little Westwood chant going on in a section a few weeks back. It was
Which
good.
was
we
what? Which was
actually
what?
tried
Let's hear
that.
it.
We
Hear it.
tried that again this weekend, by the way.
You
Let's
did?
hear it. For the
I think
fans,
so.
by the fans.
Wait, we
Leave
brought
it
the
up.
one. Like we've got Westwood. Ashley Westwood.
Yes.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I understand.
He comes
likes
from Barnley. He
He's from
drinks the fucking
Burnley.
tea. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Something like that. We tried it. We tried it. Uh-oh.
Better be going next game. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
I
no,
like it, I
we
like
we sang that a couple of times, but we got overrun by
And
drums.
hey, everybody, that was number 10, sponsored by number 10.
I fucking love number 10, man. You know what? That's exactly what we need is a good number 10. Or hey,
Isn't that what Spurs finished at? Or is that they were a little bit higher than that?
Ooh.
or hey, you look disconnected, man.
We don't need a 10. We need to stop leaking goals. If
Well, we
stop
didn't leak
leaking
any goals last week. I
If we
actually
stop
no,
leaking
seriously. All right,
goals-
so we're gonna move on to the Montreal game.
Hold on,
And
I
wanna
got one
say-
question real quickly.
Go
Just
ahead.
from leaking the goals before we go to Montreal. Jorge, if you're Latanzio and Marks is 100% healthy, because I know he's been coming in to get some practices at Crown Legacy, do you keep Kalina in or do you bring George Marks back?
George Marks would score goals.
That's a tough question because you got to remember too, like Marks made that mistake that led to them
Made
scoring.
one mistake.
Yeah,
man.
okay. Let me finish my point.
Ah,
Boys,
it's all
boys,
about my
Let me see
idea.
if I can do
Go
it.
ahead, all right. Go ahead.
boys, take it easy. Take it easy. Let him finish.
I think Kalina has lost any remaining time that we would have for a goalkeeper. If he makes them, like for example, I think it was New York, he should have done better on that second goal, right? So I would start throwing in Marks, right? Because like at this point, at 30 years old, you shouldn't be making some of the mistakes Kalina is making.
My problem with
You can
Kalina.
forgive Marks for some of these mistakes because he's a younger player. But this goes back into the roster build and the players that you're bringing in. If the goalkeeper that you're bringing in, you're paying what? I think it's $400,000 that he's on, occupies an international slot, and you're telling me that a goalkeeper that was drafted in the 3rd round is competing against him for the number 1 spot. What does that have to say about the roster build that you're currently having with this team?
You say
you
he takes an international spot too, right?
Yeah.
He does.
I'm not sure
so
how
this is-
far that green card process is, and he might have it by now. But when he came in, it was an international.
Yeah, I will say it is coming in the legal way. It's very hard to get into this country. Anyways, but like, you know, Kalina, I think, gets a lot of like leeway, if you will, right? Just because he was our first goalkeeper, he made some good one-on-one saves, right? I mean, basically, obviously, I'm not a goalkeeper in MLS or any of that, but like some of these shots were right at him, right? And it's like, you know, you make yourself big regardless, and it's going to hit you, right? I don't know if he really knew. My point is, I think Kalina with his feet, if we're going to play at the back, is not our starter keeper. I think Marks is. I mean, this weekend against Montreal, there were some times I was like, "Holy shit!" We almost
yeah.
like had a
Yeah.
we would have been all over the highlights.
Yeah, Lee,
Oh
but,
my
but the
God,
point
there's
is,
one-
the point is
so
that you're investing in this position. You're investing in this position with an international slot. With
No,
what
I
you're-
get it.
with what you're paying this player, right? And what's the comparable, right? Look at St. Louis bringing in Berkey, right? Spending a lot of money, and it's actually bringing value, right? Guy got selected for MLS All-Stars, right? So you're talking about a goalkeeper that a team heavily invested in making an MLS All-Star roster versus a goalkeeper that we're not sure and is competing now against our third-round draft pick to start in the 11, right?
Oh,
I don't put
100%.
much.
Go ahead, Kessler.
I don't put much on MLS roster selection though, because like MLS All-Star roster selection is such a wonky thing. Like the fact that you have Mr. Arsenal himself over there picking the DC United keeper just because he can pick 13 spots doesn't, like, to me, I'm like, all right, whatever. Like that's, I get what you're saying, Jorge. Like it's not great for us, but I don't put too much weight on the All-Star to a certain degree.
But the point is, you're not picking Kalina in the top 10 goalkeepers.
That's true. You're right. Yep. You're right.
I mean, would you say any of our players are in the top 10 in their position?
No.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
a
it's
hot
not good.
take.
Well,
I mean,
you
I
have to
think
look
I
at comparables,
never
right?
thought about it that
The
way.
reality is you have to look at the comparables. Our DPs are good players for us. How would they look if you stack them against the DPs in MLS? They look average. Our
Very
U22 players, one barely got into the starting 11, who was supposed to be an impact player from the beginning in Vargas, and the other one is at Crown Legacy.
Yeah, I mean, Yeti Clan sums it up. We were a mid-team, man, and I feel like this is the groceries we're gonna get fed the entire time, man. It's just we're just gonna be a mid-team. You know, I mean, we're always gonna be that team that has potential, right? And we're never gonna.
Not always.
Nah,
Not
dude.
always.
Every team I support, man. This is.
Stop
I'm
it,
going
man.
in. Hold on.
You
I'm
stop
laying
it now,
down when
Lee.
I say this, man.
Lee,
Every
you stop
team I
it now.
support, man, has potential, but they never win fucking shit. God Almighty. I'm just gonna pick a winning team and go that route.
What, Lee?
Sorry, I had to get it off my chest.
Don't-
Charlotte is a
don't
mid-team.
despair- don't
Charlotte is a mid-team.
Do not despair, Lee. There is still hope. You have to have faith. You got to know that no matter what,
Dude.
we are Charlotte,
The only hope I'm
mighty black and blue. We are from the Carolinas. You are too. Come on, Lee. Damn it, man.
That's it. That's all I got, man. That's how. Oh, man. You know what? I had a whole agenda, dude. I had this whole fucking thing written up right here.
I derailed you,
We were
man. I'm
gonna tag.
sorry.
Damn.
Yeah, we were gonna.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
actually gonna try to be a little more professional tonight, but this has been one of the better shows. I think, just like letting stuff off our chest. Halfway through the season, we're a mid-team. Halfway through, you know, our lifeline, a year and a half, we're a mid-team. We can't put our finger on who the hell it is to blame, who the hell we need to change, or what we need to do. I'm telling you, man, we'd be better off doing a whole fucking flush and starting over.
That's rough to hear, man.
Yeah,
That would make me not want to renew my tickets next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go just because it's cool to go.
No. Someone pick another number.
20 star.
20 star. There you go.
Star. Where's 20? Oh,
What'd you just do there, Grandpa?
hey, man. Hey. Hey, this is another grandpa they know. Hey, listen here, Sonny. Did y'all know that the summer solstice is not always the longest day of the year? Tonight, was
Hold
the
on. This
longest day in the 40th latitude where we live. About the sun set the latest of the entire year tonight. Happy longest sunset of the year.
That was
tonight.
20 star. That was 20 star.
Did you pull that from the Farmer's Almanac or what?
Oh, man, I pulled that
Farmers.com,
from my
actually.
brain, man. Shit. God
You know
damn.
what? I'm gonna jump over. I started. There's been. I'm not gonna even flash that up there.
Yeah, you need to
Anyways,
flash that up.
off
Go
the
ahead, Luke.
rails.
No. There you go. There's I started some comments through here, right? Just because as the conversation was going, I was like, you know what, we need to come back on that. So we might go a little longer than an hour. You know, you guys good, Jorge, Kessler, AT?
Nope, not
We're
really.
gonna do this, man. No, this feels like a good session. I felt like this is need to be said, man. We're not happy with Charlotte, folks. We are not fucking happy with Charlotte, and they need to do something. Hey, we got like 7 days. The window opens. Get us somebody. Make a fucking statement, man, that we're here to play. Anyways, I'm going back over here. So
You need to highlight the Chelsea comment there, Lee, by the way.
hold on, I have to bounce back and back. See, that's coming from Atlanta fans. So I mean, you know, anywho. Let's go. All right. So Jan, I honestly don't think this guy's had a bad game. When he's played, he's been consistent, he's been solid. He had tell me when Jan is fucked up this season.
I think he had like one bad game. I think was it
No,
a
there was
decent
a
Was it actual
DC?
game or was it
He's had
like
a
a
bad
preseason
game.
game?
He's had a bad game.
There was a couple. I can't remember which one, but one where he was out of position, one where he got outpaced. Right.
I mean, I'm not going to deny he's slow.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then it goes back to we're paying the guy $300,000 and he doesn't even start for us. Again, back to the roster build.
Well, again, who does that
I mean,
fall
this is
on?
why-
There? Who
it
does
was
that
the
fall
Columbus
on?
No, this is why when people put so much blame on Mackenzie Gaines when he comes in or whatever, right? You have to look at comparables. Mackenzie Gaines is what on less than 100K for Charlotte FC. The impact that he makes on this roster, right, can be hit or miss because of the type of player that you got versus you're bringing in players that you're paying a significant amount of money. These are the players that you need to be asking to produce more for you. And if they're not producing more for you, it's one of two things. Either we're not using them correctly or the scouting to bring these players wasn't good enough.
Ding,
So
ding, ding,
again,
ding,
who
ding, ding,
does this
ding,
fall
ding,
on?
ding,
Who does
ding,
it
ding.
fall on?
I told you a
Number
mixture of
two,
all of
number
it.
two.
Front
So-
office, scouting, and the coach.
So if you were a Tepper, you would walk in and you'd be like, at the end of the season, right? This is all we see this season. You
No, no,
walk
no.
in there at the end of the season, man. We finished 10th. What are
I
you
would-
doing?
if
What are
I
you
were-
doing?
Huh? You're making changes
Where?
in the sporting directing role, and I would assume I would get rid of the coach too if we don't finish in the playoff spot because it's not good enough.
No,
It's
no, no. That's
unacceptable.
fair.
Charlotte sold us that in the next 3 to 5 years we're going to build a consistent team that's going to compete that's going to be in the top end of MLS and is going to consistently be in playoffs and is going to play a good product. We do not play a good product.
No,
and
we
we're
don't.
10th in the league. We're always in and around a playoff spot, right? And it looks better this season because 9 out of 14 teams qualify. In reality, if it was 7 out of 14, right? How many weeks have we truly been in a playoff spot this season?
I don't know. I do drop
Like
the
3 a week. Yeah.
Jorge loves games.
I do drop the Monday League updates. We could go back and check through that. But no, I get your point. But I mean, again, do we want if we fired a manager, are we going to become that city that just fires coaches just because shit's not going our way?
They were a brand new team.
I'm just asking the questions, Jorge. You know
What
how
have
I
we
feel.
seen? What have we seen, though? What have we seen? That is my thing. At the end of last season, right? You're okay. In my opinion, I was okay with giving Latanja the job, right? Because I had seen enough to say, well, there's something there. There's an energy of this team. The way we finished, right? He has a great relationship with the players. There's a lot of positives, right? But now we're a full season in, right? Where are these changes coming? I still give him some grace. Don't get me wrong, because he's gone through, this is his first full year as a coach. He's gone through a player death. He's gone through, scandals that are outside of his control, right? But this goes back to putting pressure on the front office and putting pressure on the scouting. It has to be better.
No, it has to be better. And again, I keep coming back to that question though. There's not
you're asking me
one thing
what
that I can say.
what I would do if I was Tepper.
No.
If I was Tepper right now, I would say, hey, I don't care what goes on, right? I don't care any outside issue. You've put me in a playoff spot this season, right? There is no excuse for you not to finish in a playoff spot this position.
Well, I feel like the team also had like 3 or 4 games in hand at
If
that
you
point.
cannot
too.
be in the 50% of MLS in a mid-league, in a mid-system to get into a playoff, then what are we doing?
And we're also not Europe.
If we had the cheapest tickets and there was no promise of, hey, we're going to make playoffs, we're going to do this, it would be acceptable, right? But the problem is that the pressure was put on by them.
No, true, because they came out the gate and they said, hey, we're going to be a
Hosting
party
the
city. We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to do all this wonderful shit. And we haven't hit on any of that
Well,
yet.
Isn't that the interesting point, though? That people have been, the people going out there to have a party, have had fun. They all love the experience. When we interview people, I'm having a great time. It was a great time at soccer, whatever. I came in for Ted Lasso, 1-1, whatever. I don't even know. I don't know player name, so on and so forth. But they had a great time. You know, so and also at the end of the day,
Yeah.
a lot of people,
You know what we had
Like
here?
Gus was saying, his comment.
entertainment.
Go ahead,
So
Gus.
I think if they don't make the playoffs, like Jorge said, but I think it's the coach that gets changed because I was being a little optimistic, but I felt like, earlier in the offseason, like we brought on some players. We had Nuno coming into shape. We had Andre that was expected to play. We had at the time, Anton. I felt like on paper we upgraded and we were that close making the playoffs last year. And I think the team expected to see improvement. Especially the summer window. God, I hope we're a little bit active there and we're ahead of the game and not wait until August to get them into the practice a little bit. I think you see changes at the coach first, kind of like what the T Gang said. People fire coaches all the time. Like I think Atlanta, I'm not to use them as an example, but I think they're fourth right now on the table. They've gone through like 3 coaches the last 3 years, and I think it's pretty acceptable for coaches to be gone.
To that point, though, I mean, there are some names out there that are just sitting on the sidelines looking to get hired somewhere, right?
Don't bring Bradley here. I want Bradley here. Don't do that.
I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, other than that, I mean, where do we look? Who are we going to get? Some other like new manager style and hope that it works, or because we're not going to attract no big name anytime soon. I mean, what does Charlotte have to offer? I mean, it's a great place to live with 3 hours from the mountain, 3 hours from the beach. But if your career and you want to be satisfied and win shit, like what do we have to offer?
Cookout.
We do have if you got the barbecue and the hot dogs, just be careful because the hot dogs might stain your shorts a little bit. But anyways,
Fries
are pretty good.
All
right. So, all right, I'm going to move on. I want to hit some of these questions, right? So what do we think the midfield looks like with Arfield? If he starts, who do we go with? Swiderski, Enzo, who gets dropped? Is this kind of a warning shot to Bronico?
I mean, I think the fact that you've seen Bronico playing that 8 a lot more this season, yes, I think it is a little bit, unfortunately, because Bronico is my guy. But so I think you saw a little bit of a preview of it this past weekend. I think Westwood stays at the 6. You have Arfield coming at the 8, and then I would love to have like maybe Bender there, and then put Enzo in, or even potentially put Enzo and Carroll up top somehow. Go to a 4-4-2 or something. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I think you see Arfield start with Westwood back there as well.
What do you think, Jorge?
In our midfield, yeah, I would agree. I think you're going to keep Swiderski at the 10 role, right? And then, I mean, you have to continue to play Enzo, right? If he's your DP and he's the player that you're expecting to score your goals, right? In my opinion, we need the best Camille back and then keep Merrim on the left, right? So we need that midfield. But again, I mean, I don't really like it's the back line is the problem. How many goals we leak? I mean, we need a commanding center back to come in here with more leadership experience. We need another left back as well.
We definitely need a left back.
Yeah.
Jesus, I mean, so who starts? Garujo, Malanda, Lindsay? Is that going to be at least the 3 starters before we get a left back?
Lindsay's been stepping up, man.
I mean, I mean, stats are stats, but there's many reasons behind the stats too, right?
I
So
know, but at the same time, at least he's pushing it forward. All y'all always complain about we're never getting it forward, never getting it forward. At least Lindsey's good at that, as far as I can tell.
So, Peter, Preston asked a good question. At what point does Kristen Latanzio get fired, or is it the sporting director? This has been the theme all night. It's been the theme.
You have to ride with Latanzio till the end of the season. That's the
100%. I give you that.
Right. You know, to me, good for him for putting pressure on and saying, I need, like, his press conferences have changed slightly in terms of, like, you know what, he's fed up, right? I need like that press conference he did a couple of weeks ago. You could have asked him what color the grass was. He would have said it's green and I need 3 players, right? And so good for him for putting the pressure, because he knows at the end of the season, you're going to evaluate what this team actually did, right? If you make playoffs and you ride with it, maybe win a game and then get eliminated, you're safe. If you don't make playoffs, then I think that's the leash that gets cut, because it won't be good enough, right? So I think it's that. I think if I'm David Tepper and we don't make playoffs this season, I would cut our sporting director and move on, right? But I don't think that'll happen. This is what I'm telling you. If I was David Tepper and we don't make playoffs this season.
So this ain't no top bin 90 scoop. I'll show
you mean top bin 305.
I'll show the top. There's a lot of shit going on over here.
Damn, dude.
I know. I tighten up. All right. We've gone over our we normally only hang out for 60 minutes, but I felt like, you know, the conversation was good, man. So
Lee just wants y'all. No. Everyone stop. Lee is like, listen, man, I want to hang out tonight. I need to talk to some people. I'm feeling good. He said, let's run as late as we can. It doesn't matter, man. The hell with 10 p.m. I got
WhatsApp, man. I get a lot of unwanted texts. I just respond back to them and see how that conversation goes. Anyways, man. So no game this weekend. We play New York. Wednesday night, a week from tonight, actually. Gusler, what do you think the score prediction will be? Go ahead and drop it in the chat too.
I'm gonna go on the record and say, because we've been so terrible at home, we continue to at least get some points in the road. So I'm gonna say 2-1, because it's a tiny ass field. It's like playing on strikers up there.
But for what it's worth, I think we're tied for the most away goals as well.
Yeah. So I say 2-1 guys in blue.
Well, I mean,
Carolina blue. How about that?
Again,
it's not
process
Carolina
blue. Process whatever, man. Whatever it is.
Charlotte FC blue. Don't say Carolina.
Hey,
blue.
I can't say mint anymore. They need to go back to the mint.
I know. Well, royal blue is
even mint, whatever. Yeah,
JT, tell us the score prediction, my man.
2-1. Charlotte 2-1. FC blue.
2-1. Jorge, what do you think?
For the New York game, I think we'll win 2-1 as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with it. I think we're just gonna win 1-0. That's what I think, man. It's gonna be terrible. So with that being said, Top Ben, tell us where people can find you, man.
You can find us in
Miami,
Brooklyn, which is in Miami. Hey, let's go. You can find us at Top Ben 90 on all our socials. And we'll be at the Gold Cup this weekend, so that should be fun, right? I get to see my country, which is really terrible right now. So, I mean, it's a win and a loss at the same time for me. And then we will be hosting a watch party next Wednesday at Graham Street. So pull up.
There you go. Gusler, where can people find you guys?
Yeah, man. Mid-City Soccer Show, wherever you find podcasts. Matt Swift has all of our socials out there. Check us out on TikTok if you really want to. I don't use that, but we're out there on that. But Mint City Pod, you can check me out at Mint City Gus on Instagram, Twitter, etc. So
good,
man.
All right, so yeah, you can find us at CLTFC Fan TV on all the socials. We just dropped our fan reactions yesterday. I don't know. Next Wednesday we'll debate if we're going to do a live watch along or we're going to go hang out with everybody. Again, news to show.
You had a good time hanging out with us, though. Don't say you didn't.
No, it's because I was there. Y'all had a good time.
Hey,
nah, dog, you need to hang out late night.
Lee, you need to drive down to Columbia, man, and hang out at Public House with us down here with some of the southbound folks.
I will on a Saturday game. Wednesday's kind of tough.
Actually-
I have to get up for work. I'm willing to travel, but on a Saturday it has to be. You know
Gotcha,
what?
man.
Yeah. But yeah, find us on all the socials. New to the show, hit the sub button, man. Hit the like, share, whatever. Hey, fellas, I just want to say, I had a whole agenda seriously set up for tonight. I was going to try to be more professional, but I felt like the venting session was well worth it, right?
Yeah, you got me.
So,
You caught me on the right day today.
yeah.
Okay.
No, I feel like we all came together on the right day, man.
Yeah.
And all we want is Charlotte FC to be successful and to give us the fight and hope. I'm used to not winning trophies, but you put me in the final or you put me in the playoffs, man, I can cope with that. So with that being said, man, I just want to say thank y'all and JT smiling. Bye.